Yeah, very good morning, children. We have successfully completed Unit 1, and now we are about to start Unit 2, labeled Social Issues. And reading A, Oliver asks for more. And as a part of this, as usual, we have some comprehensive picture. A picture which is mentioned for some comprehensive understanding. Where you see, we have here only a statement. Look at it. The same is written. If you could read it, home is the happiest place in the world. Home is the happiest place in the world. The same is written on the board. Just look at. Hope we understand and agree with this and this corona pandemic situation. We are safe only at home. Is it? So nothing more needed to describe. The realistic situation is already we are experiencing. Nowhere out of the home we can feel secure. Is it? So, having your own experience starting from March 22nd, Janata curfew, staying inside home, feeling so secure, try to answer this. What does the sentence mean? Do you agree or disagree? And why? If you agree, so why? If you don't agree, so why? Of course, we are in the corona situation, we can answer in that particular point of view. But in general, related to the social issue, it is intended to mention what about homeless people? Whom do we consider homeless? Children, whom we in general call street children, child laborers who have no parents, all such. So they get sheltered themselves roadsides, some bus stands, railway stations, and some others can be in orphanage centers. So all of these can be considered homeless. So in view of them, in view of their pathetic situations, we need to understand how important the home is and in what, how many ways a home can secure us. Okay? Yes. So please make your own answers for picture comprehension looking into your e-book. You are already circulated soft copy of the textbook, so you can go through that and mention your answers in a separate common notebook. And coming to reading A, Oliver asks for more. So the protagonist in the story, protagonist in the sense in general we call hero, the main character is Oliver, a small boy. And this is actually a part of a major text. It can be said an extract from one of the wonderful books written by Charles Dickens, a British novelist. The novel's name is Oliver Twist. And you know, most of the English medium students might have come across one of the wonderful books, Great Expectations, where Pip is the main character. And earlier in 10th class, that was a supplementary textbook. So, all such wonderful books for novels, stories for kids he had written, Charles Dickens. Let us know something about Charles Dickens. who was born in 1812 and passed away in 1870, is a well-known English novelist. Due to his father's imprisonment, Charles left school and worked in a shoe factory. So, in reality, in his personal life, he was also a homeless. While he was working as a office boy, he launched his writing career. His novels, Oliver Twist, Great Expectations, Pickwick Papers, Bleak House, A Tale of Two Cities, and David Copperfield brought him name all over the world. You know, any of the student, not a student, small kids are expected to read these particular books which are written for children. One is Oliver Twist, Great Expectations, and David Copperfield. Adventurous story books for children. Okay. He went on lecture tours to America and got literary reputation. He focused on social issues and human ailments in his works. So as he suffered, he depicted all the problems in the most interesting way in his novels that made him get reputed across the globe. So, as a part of Oliver Twist novel, this is one chapter that is given for us. It is an extract from that novel. Let us look into this. Oliver asks for more. What is it more and all? We come to know. This is an extract from the novel Oliver Twist, written by the British novelist Charles Dickens. It is the story of an orphan boy named Oliver who is brought to a children's home. You know, the story runs in the Christian backdrop. And so we need to know the mechanism that what can be run under church. So we come across here a parish. Okay. Parish is a kind of church at some village level or a town level where it can run its old age homes, orphanage homes, and some schools, hospitals, all the charity organizations. Okay, and this is at the basic level. Just like how we have some decentralized administrative system in India, village level, mandal level, district level, state level. This is what? Decentralized administration. We call it the village level panchayat, mandal level. Okay, and district level, Jilla Parishad, and at the state level, state government, like this. Parish is the basic unit at some village level or the bottom of the hierarchy of administration of a church. And there would be a district level administration. District level administration there would be, and it will be at parish level, a priest will look after all this. Priest, or can be called in American father. And at district level, bishop looks after the total administration of many of the parishes. Okay, this district level administration in the Christian organization can be called diocese. This is all according to the British system. If we do observe, Secunderabad diocese, Medak diocese, all these, they are all responsible for the total state level organization. And this district level looks after many of the parishes. Okay. And at the next level, state level, Archbishop, he is the head. And Archbishop will work under Pope, Vatican City. Okay. So this is what the hierarchy that can be observed probably in RCM churches. And there are different mechanisms. Just for a minimum understanding, I like to give you this decentralized administrative system in churches. Okay. So at parish level, they have a scope of running even a farming, orphanage, old age home, and some school, or a hospital, or at least a dispensary, something like this. And we are connected here with a drama that which took place at the parish level. Imagine parish in the sense a local church which can maintain a variety of charity activities. Okay? Yes. Let's enter the lesson. Mr. Bumble walked on with long strides, and little Oliver, firmly grasping his gold-laced cup, trotted beside him. Mr. Bumble, the authority of parish, was walking on long strides as if someone in a thoughtful manner, walking like this. Okay? And Oliver, a small boy, he was also walking beside him, to and fro. Oliver had not been within the walls of the workhouse a quarter of an hour when Mr. Bumble informed him that the board had sent to us to appear before it forthwith. So Oliver was admitted just hours ago, and he was about to present himself before the board. And the comedy lies here. Remember this word. Okay. You know, in English, a word can have all four kinds of meanings. And in general, when we go to the dictionary, we will have some noun meaning, verbal meaning, and so many other ways of meanings. For example, the word spirit has all 16 meanings in the dictionary. So, according to the context, we have to take the meaning. That is very important. When you say, I have a good soul, the soul can be here, having a good mind and good thought process. And at the same time, another soul will be at the bottom of your shoe also. S-O-U-L. Okay, got it? S-O-U-L will be on the top. Okay, likewise, board. Even what I am writing here, this green, board is also a board. Okay, any of the wooden frame we call a board. And the number of members sitting together to discuss some executive plans and all, that is also can be called board, executive board. Okay, board of directors, like that. So here, the comedy lies here. The adult knows, Mr. Bumble knows what a board is. It is a combination of some church ministers. But the boy Oliver doesn't know about it. He is uneducated. Not having a very clearly defined notion of what a live board was, Oliver was rather astonished by this information and was not quite certain whether he ought to laugh or cry. A state of ambiguity, and he couldn't understand, he couldn't know what a boat is, a live boat is. This cannot be said a live boat because it has no life. But Mr. Bumble informed the boy is supposed to present himself in front of a live boat. How a boat can have a life? It's a matter of doubt for Oliver. Okay. Not having a very clearly defined notion of what a live boat was, Oliver was rather astonished by this information and was not quite certain whether he ought to laugh or cry. He had no time to think about the matter. Mr. Bumble asked Oliver to follow him into a large whitewashed room where 8 or 10 fat gentlemen were sitting round a table. In fact, the board meant that there was a table, probably oval size or rectangular, and all around it there are some responsible people sitting on both sides of the table, and at one extreme and there was the head of the board. Okay, that is the board actually. At the top of the table, seated in an armchair rather higher than the rest, was a particularly fat gentleman with a very round red face. So imagine in a board meeting, the chairman would be at the fourth end, visible to all, and members might be, other directors might be sitting on both sides of him. It is also just like an arrangement. Bow to the board, said Bumble. So whenever we enter a room, we usually wish each other, and this is particularly a British story, and all the courtesies are to be followed. So Bumble suggested or warned Oliver to give respect to the board of directors. Oliver brushed away 2 or 3 tears that were lingering in his eyes, and seeing no board but the table, bowed to that. Still he couldn't understand what the board is. So Bumble ordered, bow to the board. And to whom he has to bow? Bow in the sense, a kind of respect, bending forward. But unknowingly, what it is a board is, he just bent. Okay, without any understanding. What's your name, boy? Said the gentleman in the high chair. So probably it's an interview. The boy was brought into the parish, and the board is expected to know whereabouts of the boy. What's your name, boy? Said the gentleman in the high chair. Oliver was frightened at the sight of so many gentlemen, which made him tremble. It's the first time Oliver, a street child, who is being brought to a home, and he felt very little scared about looking so many people there in a restricted environment. The beadle gave him a tap on his back with his cane. In general, parishes usually maintain such kind of ill treatments. So he has given a whack on his back with a cane, which made him cry. Instead of answering, Oliver started crying. Boy, listen to me. You know you are an orphan, I suppose, said the gentleman in the high chair. If you look in particularly into the textbook, I have read little different. The actual text is given here. Boy, said the gentleman in the high chair, listen to me. You know you are an orphan, I suppose. This is one variety of narrative technique. Boy is the exact speech of the gentleman. Boy comes under the reported, and the reporting is given there, said the gentleman in the high chair. And again the other part of the dialogue is written. Listen to me, you know you are an orphan, I suppose. And the same can be written for easy understanding and convenience of the reader. Boy, listen to me. You know you are an orphan, I suppose, said the gentleman in the high chair. So, you need to observe all these flavors of presenting language in your creative writing. So, please make a note of all this. And he just inquired, in almost all these parishes, parish, what kind of orphans can be put in orphanage homes there? In general, this is purely a Western culture. And parents used to have some illegitimate and illicit children. We need to confine to the wonderful system of marriage in India. But in Western, it's not like that. A father can marry a number of women. A mother can marry a number of men. And they will have their own individual children. And they are not certain about looking after their own children. So the children become automatically orphans. Such kind of children might be looked after by parishes. Okay? So, all the illicit children who cannot claim their parentage can be there. So, the gentleman on the high chair questioned, probably Oliver was an orphan. Okay? What's that, sir? Inquired poor Oliver. What does it mean, orphan? What does it mean, orphan? Oliver also don't know. Orphan in the sense, a child who has no parents. A child who has no parents. Don't be too smart. Having no parents in the sense, probably they passed away or neglected by parent. Okay? So, orphan is that. But Oliver here doesn't know what is the meaning of it. Having no meaning, he was staring at that. What's that, sir? He couldn't understand. Certain age of boy is expected to have a minimum knowledge. But Oliver even doesn't have that knowledge. So the gentleman concluded, the boy is a fool. I thought he was, said the gentleman in the white waistcoat. So he doesn't know what's the situation of himself. He is not being looked after by parents. And what is it the status can be called? You don't know. Hish, said the gentleman who had spoken first. You have got no father or mother, and that you were brought up by the parish, weren't you? So, other gentleman, he expected to explain to Oliver what was the status of him. He had no one, mother and father to look after, so that to look after his well-being, parish has brought him there. Yes, sir, replied Oliver, weeping bitterly. No, what a pitiable condition he is having no elderly person to look after. Then he recollected his situation and started crying and also responded, yes, sir. What are you crying for? Inquired the gentleman in the white waistcoat. I hope you say your prayers every night, said another gentleman in a gruff voice, and pray for the people who feed you and take care of you like a Christian. What does it mean, Christian here? Christian doesn't mean only the religion in the literature. Christian also means good person. Okay. In general, it is an euphemism can be used in English literature. A true Christian in the sense a true good man. Okay. So the board requested or expected Oliver to pray for them as they are looking after the welfare of Oliver. Yes, sir, stammered the boy, stammered, having no clear voice. Well, you have come here to be educated and taught a useful trade, said the red-faced gentleman in the high chair. So the parish expected to make the boy worthwhile for his future. So you will begin to pick. Oh, come tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock. Added the surely one in the waistcoat, white waistcoat. Oliver bowed low, directed by the beadle, and was then hurried away to a large ward where, on a rough, hard bed, he sobbed himself to sleep. You know what is sobbing? It's something, the next degree of crying or weeping. Sobbing in the sense, as a child, when you start crying, automatically you keep on gulping, something like this. Okay, so that is called sobbing. While sobbing, he got slept. Poor Oliver, as he lay sleeping, unconscious of everything around him, the board had taken a decision that would change the course of his life. So somehow he got admitted in the parish, in the orphanage, and the board adopted him and decided to look after the welfare of the child and make him a worthwhile person in the future. The members of this board were very wise and philosophical men. As they turned their attention to the workhouse, they discovered that it was the regular place of public entertainment for the poor classes. It was the place where they had breakfast, dinner, tea, and supper all the year round and free. Where it was all play and no work. This was a really shocking state of affairs. They were of the opinion that the poor should be given only two alternatives, either to starve quickly outside the workhouse or gradually inside the house. With this view, they decided that the inmates of the workhouse would be issued 3 meals of thin gruel a day with an onion twice a week. So, all the children, whoever got admitted in the parish, there is no systemized education or work culture or something. They were simply eating and passing time. So the board has decided to make them something systematic, either to send few of the orphans out of the home or to minimize their meal. So that only can make anybody to learn something for their livelihood. That was the decision taken by the board. For the first 6 months after Oliver Twist was moved in, the system was in full operation. Slow starvation. By and by, the food quantity is reduced. As a result, during this period, I would like to tell what is a gruel is. Gruel is something, a liquid form of food, which can be made of dal and cereal, something like that. For the first 6 months after Oliver Twist was moved in, the system was in full operation. As a result, during this period, the number of workhouse inmates got smaller. So everyone was feeling that it is everything free here. So anybody can come and can be fed well. So easy way of living. So in order to put a stop for this, they started slow starvation in the home so that those easy comers in the sense who expected an easy way of livelihood in the home, they got minimized. The number of workhouse inmates got smaller and the inmates themselves shrank in size and became thinner. When you are not provided sufficient food for a remarkable period of time, automatically you become lean. That's what happened here. The room in which the boys were fed was a large stone hall with a big copper bowl at one end, out of which the master, dressed in an apron for the purpose and assisted by one or two women, ladled the gruel at mealtime. Of this festive composition, each boy had one basinful and no more, except on occasions of great public rejoicing, when he had 2 ounces and a quarter of bread besides. So, how they are going to be fed? What it was planned by the board that was implemented. What it is, the dining area, the dining room for all these orphan children is a long stone constructed room. Stone constructed in the sense just like our Osmania University and all. Okay, all the British constructions might be like that with stone walls and high roof and very high ventilators like that. And the cook, he prepares the beer, the liquid form of food. And all orphans need to come in queue with the help of 2 assistant cooks who are women. That cook used to serve with a ladle. Ladle in the sense a bowl like spoon. Okay, how we dip some water from a kuja. Okay, in summers like that. So in such a way, they used to feed each boy, and there is a ration for food. What is the ration? All children in the parish will be given only ladle full of gruel, and ladle full of gruel, nothing extra. When they will be provided something extra, whenever it is an occasion like Christmas Eve or something, then they will be given some extra bread. The basins never wanted washing, so they used to get the gruel in their basin, a bowl like utensil. So the children, as they are so hungry and the quantity of the meal is very little and small, they used to almost lick every part of it. So it's said satirically, it never wanted washing. In general, it's just a matter of fun. When you take lunch in the school, you keep on pouring all around the lunch box. Why? Because mothers are so loving and they are giving all the stuff to you, and somehow we are making like that. But when we are given only the lesser than what we require, what happens? We take care of each and every part of our meal. That is what happening here. Okay. The boys polished them with their spoons till they shone again. So they used to take with spoon, and they kept on taking each piece of a gruel, and almost the bowl was empty. When they had performed this operation, they would start staring at the copper bowl with such eager eyes as if they could have devoured the big bowl itself and everything in it. When we are not satisfied with our appetite, when the food is not sufficient, we eagerly wait for something like this. Okay? And they expect probably something more can be given by that they would feel something happy and satisfactory. But no chance, no chance. Okay? At the same time, they sucked their fingers most carefully to catch up any stray splashes of beer that might have stuck their arm. In general, if we do observe our grandparents or somebody else, elderly people, they in general we take meal by hand. So almost they take each and every particle of the meal without wasting anything. That doesn't mean it is something ugly. They give value for food so that they do like that. And in the same way, these orphan children use it to do that. Boys have generally excellent appetite in general. The physiology of boys is somewhat heavy comparing to girls. So boys usually demand more food. Oliver Twist and his companions suffered the tortures of slow starvation for 3 months. At last, they got so voracious and wild with hunger that one boy who was tall for his age and hadn't been used to that sort of thing, for his father had kept a small cook shop, hinted darkly to his companions that unless he had another basin of beer per day, he was afraid he might some night happen to eat the boy who slept next to him. So, an elderly boy among the orphans stated this. If the starvation goes on like that, to satisfy his hunger, probably he can eat away the next fellow. But is it true? Can we eat the next fellow? No. But children could believe all this. Children could believe. And so they felt really, while sleeping, probably this tall boy can eat away the next fellow. He was afraid he might some night happen to eat the boy who slept next to him, who happened to be a weakly youth of tender age. He had a wide, hungry eye, and they believed him. Children believe actually all the things. Okay, they cannot discriminate what is real, what is logically correct, and all. So they bluntly believed that the tall boy's words that one night certainly the tall boy can eat away the next fellow. A council was held. So, in order to avoid this eating away the next human, they decided to conduct a meeting and they discussed. Lots were cast who should walk up to the master after supper that evening and ask for more. And it fell to Oliver Twist. That is what the label of the extract is given. Oliver asks for more. So all the orphan children, they conducted a meeting among themselves and decided to ask for some more food. And who has to ask? And the responsibility is given to Oliver. This is what the justification for the title of our lesson. Oliver asks for more. Okay. So we stop here this lesson and continue the next part of the lesson along with some other grammar elements in the next video. And following this, out of the total content here, first page and second page and third page, first paragraph, you are provided some, as usual, comprehension paragraph with comprehension questions, and go through the worksheet and make it answered on a separate sheet, and as instructed at the bottom of your worksheet, send the answered worksheet to your Dhanalakshmi madam. Okay, children? Thank you.